Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So, on our Across the Desk feature today, I am hosting people who have taken a sabbatical. And I want to know if you've ever considered taking one, right? Or maybe you've taken one. I would like you to share an experience with us. Maybe you took an extended break, whether it was for a month or 2 years from your job. And during that period of time, as an employee or as an employer, you were not reporting to work. Were you getting paid your full salary? Were you getting paid partially? But this gives you an opportunity, like just a healthy amount of time to enhance. Maybe if you are studying, to enhance your academic qualifications. Maybe you're pursuing new interests. You're trying to volunteer, or you're trying to reprioritize your life or career. So it's also an opportunity to manage just the effects of professional burnout for some people. So whether you use it for travel, that period of time, or you're pursuing a passion project, maybe you're learning a new skill, or you're simply just taking time to recharge. But a sabbatical can really provide fresh perspective. And I've invited 3 people this morning who have taken sabbaticals and they've come back with a new zeal for life. I want them to share their experiences with us. I want you to join this conversation as well, though. Give me a call on 011-883-0702 or WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 to share what your experiences have been if you've taken a sabbatical, or maybe you're considering it. Why are you considering it? Let me introduce you to my guest this morning. We've got Koketso Ndlebe, who is joining us in studio, who's a businesswoman, also a vet, a business school graduate. Koketso, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Good morning.
You look so cool.
I
like a Friday.
I love life.
Yeah. Are you good?
I'm good. How are you? And thank you for
Good.
having me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to say that line.
Well, this is your moment,
Yes.
ma'am. This is your moment.
Thank you for having me. And
So-
I'm feeling like a Friday.
Great. So Koketso is in studio with us. We also have Shantal Moeko, who's a wellness entrepreneur, who's joining us also in studio. Shantal, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Hi, Clem. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you good and excited about a Friday as well?
I am, listen, every day felt like a Friday on my sabbatical. So today I get to relive that and I'm so excited.
Amazing. We also have Zanele, Dywibiba, who's an aspiring life coach, also joining us in studio. Zanele, thank you for your time as well. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners as well. Thank you for having me.
Dywibiba, I'm told that's how I must pronounce the surname. Apologies for messing it
You
up there.
pronounced it correctly. I'm actually
Oh, why are the
impressed.
producers hard on me then? They're like, no,
No.
you got it wrong.
You've got it. You've got it.
Oh,
sir.
great. Okay. So I'm excited to hear your stories, guys, because, and I hope my bosses are listening, is I am considering a sabbatical and maybe they can help me out. But I've always thought of, oh my God, I want to take, even if it's a month or 2 months, to just go and rest. And I want to start with you first, Koketso. What was your experience? When did you take it? And what was that moment for you that said, I need to bow out here for a bit?
Yes, I think it is very common that people after varsity, because I took it immediately after my undergrad. So I think it's so common for people to want to go to work immediately. I'm not saying I didn't look for employment, but it just felt like a gap year. And when I was in the middle of the year, I realized that actually this is rest. And I took it at that time. I didn't take a break immediately after my matric, so I went straight to university, and I still think I was very, very young. I just turned 17, and I chose a course. I went to school. I spent 4 years. I never took a break, and even when I was at school, I was still doing other things. So it just felt like a go.
You're just hustling.
It was just like productivity, and I just, for the first time, I was like, I need to rest. And then I took a rest in 2023.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you do during that time?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I planned it, but
Yeah.
I slept.
Listen,
I slept.
I love
and
me some sleep.
No, I did. And it just felt so foreign to me because
Yeah.
I am so used to like working and doing all of these things. I'm a very hyper extroverted person.
Yeah.
And it just felt so foreign, but I had to sleep. My body was calling me to sleep. And yeah, I think I found employment, I think, at the end of that year. And it just felt so timely and intentional because I felt rested and I felt like I rested.
And you were ready to take on the
I
world.
was ready.
That's great. Shantal, how about you? What was the story for you? When did you decide I need to take a sabbatical? And were you intentional about it?
Clem, I was forced into it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I am an entrepreneur. I've been in the wellness industry for the past 10 years. And I pride myself in thinking that I had harmony with working out, eating well, and working. But when you are an entrepreneur, the stakes are high. It's all on you. And my burnout came as a mental burnout, and that then manifested in my body, and that's what really pushed me to take my sabbatical. The sabbatical that I took started as a micro sabbatical, and I actually spoke on this before with Dywibiba on here, and the micro sabbatical was 4 weeks long. And after the 4 weeks, I was hyped to get back to work. I was focused on, I felt re-energized, refocused. And when I got back to my business after those 4 weeks, I realized, nope, it was such a premature decision to go back. And I needed to extend the sabbatical. And it took me 9 months of really just refocusing, realigning my mental and spiritual health. Because a lot of sabbaticals, sometimes people are forced because of health reasons, but for me, it was more mentally and spiritually that I needed realignment, and that's what really pushed me to take my sabbatical.
Okay. Zanele, what's your story?
Mine was unplanned, if I can put it like that. It was really unplanned. Initially, it started off with me being unwell, experiencing things in my body that I was not, familiar to. And I went to my doctor, and I couldn't even explain what was happening to me at the time. When she asked me, how can I help you? What's the issue today? I couldn't articulate it at all. The only thing I could say at the time was that I am tired. I am drained. I don't know what's happening. My body's just not responding to me. And I was then booked off at the time, and then she referred me to a psychologist, and I then started to attend the sessions. And what really came out strongly was the fact that I was similar to Shantal, completely burnt out mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, which then contributed to me being in a depressed state. And I was at home for a good 5 months at the time, and then I went back to work. When I went back to work after the 5 months period, I was still not in a good state. And this is after 14 years of being in the public sector. And then I could just feel that my heart was not in the right place, my spirit was not in the right space. I knew something needed to move. I knew there were big decisions that I needed to make. So it was not a planned thing, but eventually when I wrote that letter to say I am taking a break, I eventually took a break in everything, from work, from church responsibilities, from social setups, where I just felt I need to pause and just reconnect with myself and breathe, because I was struggling to breathe. So that's how mine started.
Sure.
Thanks, Clement.
That's so fascinating, because also sometimes when we take sabbaticals, we think, let me get off work, but I can continue with studies, or I can continue with church responsibilities, or I can continue with, this particular skills or training development program. But sometimes sabbaticals are needed to just go, I am stopping and pausing everything because I just need to refocus. Koketso, when you came back, do you think that you saw the benefits of that rest, and then you realized that, oh my goodness, had I not rested there, I wouldn't be able to be as productive and have this new zeal? What were those benefits that you were able to pick up once you were back?
Thank you for that question. And if you asked me if I would do it again, I would do it again. It was beautiful. I think they've mentioned that it took them months. For me, it was almost a year. And the benefit was that I got a clear, because for me it was like career. I had to choose what I wanted to do. So I did a course undergrad. It was BSc Urban and Regional Planning. And I think I was so not like honest with myself and how I felt about it. And I feel like the feelings of being in denial just also led me to all those states of burnout. Because I felt like I had to work more harder just to get the marks to pass by, you know?
Yeah.
And I think during my gap year, I was just like, I sat and I was like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? I mean, I'm young to be asking those questions. It was a big ask, but I knew I was not happy. And that the tiredness was like a signal to my body to say, you need to kind of make a change. So I like I told you, I got a job as a business assistant at that time. And I was just like, what can I do with this? You know, and that's why I went and opted for a postgrad in a different field. So I literally took a switch.
And that made you happy? You were satisfied with that?
I've been happier. Like I would do it over and over again.
Which is great, because that means then during that time, you've got clarity of thought, right? You're able to make the right decisions. Shantal, how do you plan financially for something like this? I mean, being away, especially for you as an entrepreneur, you know that you have to grind the entire time, you know. So how do you plan for that financially?
Well, Clem, like I said, I was forced into it and I didn't have much time to plan, to be honest. But for someone like you who is planning on going on a sabbatical, I think it's very wise to sit down, look at your finances, look at a time period that you do want to go on your sabbatical for, and then budget accordingly. For someone in my position who is an entrepreneur, it can be a bit more difficult because, as I mentioned, the stakes are higher, and without you being physically present in your business, it can take a toll on the production of the business and the productivity as well. And it's very important for you to have a contingency plan, emergency funds, maybe access to a financial advisor that can assist you in just shuffling funds around. Also, on the sabbatical, what I learned is to really just reshuffle my priorities, and I found myself cutting back on a lot of unnecessary expenses, things that I realized were now unnecessary that maybe I didn't realize when unnecessary in the past, and really just refocusing on living a quiet and simple life within those few months of my sabbatical. So that's also something that I really learned in my sabbatical was minimalism.
Yeah. yes. I like that. For you, Zanele, did you think about, okay, what am I gonna do financially? Did you have the opportunity where maybe you're getting a partial salary? What was the setup for you, or did you have extra support at home?
For me, extra support at home went a long way, because when I took that decision, I was at the peak of my career. And similar to Koketso, I'm an urban and regional planner, passionate about, what I was doing. But the time I was unwell, God just showed up for me and showed me that there's a difference between, passion and purpose. And God was, slowly revealing to me what my purpose in life, which is why I then took the coaching program, the life coaching program. But it was not a planned thing, but it gave me an opportunity to be a wife to my husband, which I could not be at the time when I was, mentally, I was on the mental breakdown. I got to be a mother to my kids again, which is something that had, a role that I had neglected, if I may put it like that, because I was just in the everyday rush, chasing deadlines, working late, and all of those things. So I did not plan for it financially. There were options that were there. Obviously, in any work environment, there are options that are there that you can take up in terms of taking a sabbatical. But it was deeper than that. It required me to cut the umbilical cord that, connected me with a whole lot of things. And I lost the salary. So I would say I did not plan for it. But the support that I've been getting from my husband and even my family, my sisters and my mother, they've been there. It was not an easy decision to take because, as African people, our families depend on us. When we succeed in life, our families are also succeeding. But when I took that decision, the support that I got from my mother and my sisters and my husband and my kids, they were like, we want the old you back. And if that's what we are going to be getting from this decision that you are taking, oh good, we support you.
Yeah, that's great. So importance of support as well.
Yes.
011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. I want to hear from you on the WhatsApp line on 072-702-1702. Have you ever taken a sabbatical before? And did that rejuvenate you? Did you come back with new zeal, new energy? Or did you regret taking a sabbatical? For some people, they come back and they realized, it was a terrible mistake. What's your experience? Please share that with us. Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp. I've got some texts here that have come through. Matabo says, good morning, Clem and team and your guests there. I would like to take a sabbatical for 6 months in order to complete the research component on my master's degree and also just to rest. However, I cannot do that because of the financial obligations. Thanks for the great show. Really enjoying the chat. Thank you for that. And that's a consideration that some people have to make, is if you're stopping to work, like what Zanele says, you have to forgo sometimes your salary. And you have to look for support that you have, or maybe find other options that are available in your workspace. Gwen says, Clement, please can you ask your guest there about the financial planning around taking sabbatical leave, especially when you have dependents? Do people still get their full salary when you're on sabbatical leave? Yeah, Gwen, I've just asked them that. But there are options that are available. For some people, you just go no support at all financially, or some people can still get their full salary. Some get their partial salary. It depends on the negotiation you have with your employers. And then another one says, hi, 702. Please can you kindly read out this message below on air? It's from me, Malibongwe Dywibiba, the husband of Zanele Dywibiba. Oh, okay. So this is the husband of Zanele. Okay, this is interesting.
That's so cute.
The husband of Zanele, who's sharing his story today. And here it goes. It says, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of my wife for sharing her story about taking a work sabbatical due to burnout. I saw firsthand how what was happening at that time was affecting her mentally, emotionally, and physically. It was painful to witness someone I love going through that. When she made the decision to step away from work, I was scared, uncertain about what would come next for us as a family. But even through my fear, I knew her well-being came first, and I supported her all the way. Watching her start to heal has been one of the most important and beautiful things. So to my wife, I stand with you then, now, and always. You are brave and you are not alone. That's amazing.
It's so
That's so beautiful. Zanele, you're so blessed. You're so blessed to have support like that.
I am. He's really been my support. He's been my rock. He's making me emotional now. I wasn't expecting this. He's been my rock. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think the decision would have been easier had I not received support from him. I remember when we were having the conversation about me, submitting my resignation. One of the things I said was that we prayed about it, and I said, yes, God, the only thing that I'm asking from you during this time, I don't want big money, but we just want provision of daily bread. And God has been providing that daily bread through his support, and given an opportunity 8 months later without a salary to say, do you want to go back? We're giving you an opportunity to come back. I would still choose not to go back because, what I'm gaining right now is far better than, where I was at the time when I could just feel that I'm losing myself. I'm falling apart. And the sad part is that you wouldn't even see that I was not okay because I was showing up in different spaces. I was showing up at work, performance, but deep down, I was dying a slow death. So I'm gaining life, and I still want to hold on to that life that I've regained. So he's been a great support. Him and my kids, Elabo and Iana.
Amazing. Dima on the WhatsApp line says, good morning. I'm really enjoying this chat, Clement, you and your guests. When I was on chemotherapy, the oncologist motivated a 6-month sabbatical with the employer. Thank you for the show. That's a message there from Dima. And yeah, and there are some people that have had cancer, and I mean, my goodness, going through radiation and going through chemo is the most difficult thing. And it's difficult for people who are watching their loved ones go through that. Can you imagine how difficult it is for people who have to go through that chemo and radiation? And I've seen it firsthand before. And I do not wish that on anyone, to be able to experience it or to be able to even have a loved one who goes through that. So when you go through things like that, you do need some time away. I don't see how you go through that and you're still able to be at work. So thank you for sharing that with us, Dima. It's going up to 10:30. We're going to get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. I'm going to come back and continue this chat with Shantal, Zanele, and Koketso. I'm going to take your calls as well. 011-883-0702. Have you taken a sabbatical before? Are you considering taking it? Why are you taking it? And if you've taken it before, what difference did it make for you? Let us know. It's 10:30.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
25 minutes before 11 o'clock on our Across the Desk feature this morning, I am hosting people who've taken sabbaticals. And I want you to share your experiences with us. I'm really inspired by the stories that Shantal, Zanele, and Koketso have told. And I see some of the questions that are coming through for them. In fact, ladies, if you can just think about this question in the meantime as I take some calls. There's someone who's asking if the sabbatical or that period you take, not doing much, did it change the way that you view success or the way that you approach this work-life balance now? So how has your perspective changed after your sabbatical in as far as success is concerned or work-life balance is concerned? So think about that. I'll give you an opportunity to respond to it. But first, let's take some calls. Neo, you are calling us from Midrand. Good morning.
Hello, Clement.
Hey, Tada.
This is a great show always.
Thank you, brother.
I'm teaching at the University of the Free State, history, associate professor there. I took a sabbatical in 2016, July, for a year into 2017, March, to convert my PhD into a book. I'm excited to tell you that it's going to be launched next week on the 7th of May at the University of the Free State. But what I want to share is that we are married. When you take sabbatical, I think it's important to sit down with your wife and say, although you're keeping my job, I'm not going to get the whole salary. I think that's one of the things I regret. I thought, I'm keeping my job and the salary will come as it is, but it didn't, and it's not good for the family. So it's one of the things that I will advise as I go up the rank. When I become a dean, I'll make sure that anyone who takes sabbatical, they really discuss the financial implications with their families, because there are financial implications. But the book is coming out, Cultural Resistance on Women Talent. Hope you'll bring me for your copy and talk about it.
Yeah, please, man, send me a copy. I'd like to read it now, because I think you've called to tell me about that before when you're working on it. All the best, and thank you so much for raising that issue of just regret of not having had the discussion around financial planning, and that is why that is so important. Don't just wake up and go, I'm taking a sabbatical. It's also sometimes important, especially when you've got responsibilities. You've got kids, you've got a wife, you've got a husband, you've got maybe the family you're still looking after, your mom, your dad, your siblings. Sometimes it's important just to think about the way forward. What is the plan? Is there an alternative plan? Is there saving to do? Because sometimes then you take a sabbatical, but then instead of relaxing, you're stressing now about people you must still take care of, right? Moeko, you are calling us from Centurion. Good morning. Hey, Moeko.
Hi, Clement, and good morning to you and your guests. Nice show.
Thank you.
Exciting topic. So I'm one of those people who decided to go on, I call it a personal sabbatical, because I resigned from work.
Yeah.
And it was as a result of burnout. I was exhausted. Every morning when I woke up, I was dragging myself out of bed. And I had been postponing it for a couple of years. There was a time I wanted to go in 2019, and I felt like, hey, maybe let me just push my savings. And 2021, I decided there's no turning back. I left, and I had a bucket list of items, and we had just gotten out of COVID, not quite, but things were easing up. And I went for my bucket list items. I started with art school. I'm good at sketching with a pencil, so I decided I'm going for acrylics and oil paints, and I did that.
Wow.
Afterwards, I went for a baking class. After baking, I went for cooking. I went for landscaping. And then I did a little bit of traveling just to see my country.
Yeah.
You know, when we travel, we well, not normally. I think when people say, I want to see the world, my world for me, I defined it as South African. I decided to see the country. So I traveled around the country. But what was important for me was, besides the rest, which I really appreciated, was it helped to have a bit of a saving. You know, we South Africans are not good at saving money, but for me, it came in so handy that I could carry on living a comfortable life, although it was not with the usual comfort of somebody that gets a salary on a monthly basis. I had to cut out a lot of things. And one good lesson for me was, I don't need to buy tools every month. I don't need to buy the groceries that I used to buy when I was at work, because half of them would go to my helper, and some end up in the bin. So I became very, very prudent, while still living a fairly comfortable life. Another important lesson for me, we say blood is thicker than water. For me, it was the other way around. It was water was thicker than blood. Not once did a single family member ask me, how are you even able to live from day to day? You know, there was anxiety when I was going home that people maybe even thought that I was there to ask for money, and I didn't, you know, and just the lack of interest of how do you do it on a day-to-day basis showed me a lot. And my partner stepped in big time. There were times when I really needed to rely on somebody, and my partner was there for me.
Oh, that's amazing, and that's why that support system is so crucial. Moeko, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Okay, so back to that question I asked you, Shantal, Zanele, and Koketso. I'll start with you, Koketso. There's a question we got from someone who says, please can you ask if that sabbatical or that break they took changed the way they view success or the way they approach this work-life balance now. I'll start with you, Koketso.
This goes also for everyone who's still in varsity. And I always feel like I always have to talk on behalf of kids from the townships, and it's so important for me. They are taught to work harder, and they're taught to work up until they bend to the ground.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's sustainable. I think there's enough for everyone. And I think that's the whole, my break taught me that, and it taught me that you can still rest and this journey will still continue. And it taught me that we have time than we think we don't. I think for me it was kind of forced, of course, and I was going through grief. And when you're grieving,
Is this when you had lost your mom?
Yes. So when you're grieving, you think, I still need to work. And that's when it kind of clicked to me to say, how are you going through something and still thinking about productivity? How about your emotions? How about your mental health? How about the whole thing? So I kind of approached it in a way that I will be provided for however way, but I need to take care of myself. So I kind of incorporated the whole thing of work-life balance to approach it in a way of wellness. And I think maybe one of your guests will agree with me. If you take the wellness route, you will know that you have to take rest for you to be efficient and maximize your productivity. I think it changed the whole thing of success. I think for me, being rich is being healthy.
Listen,
yes.
I just love that you've mentioned this thing that many of us have been taught to just work hard. I mean,
until you ban.
I come from a village myself where we work so hard, first of all, to come out of that place.
Yes.
Because there are not a lot of people who make it out.
Survival.
So already you're on survival mode. You get to university and the dynamics are so different. There are people who come from different backgrounds.
Yes.
And you have to survive through that and the culture shocks. And then I saw a white teacher for the first time at university.
Exactly. And someone driving a car while you don't have a meal.
And then you get to work and you're like, I have to survive. So we're always on survival mode. And that's why a lot of us, as Zanele said, we're dying internally. But we are always pulling up at work and we are performing. But internally, there's something we're missing. Shantal, what about you? Has your view on success changed? How do you approach this work-life balance thing now?
Definitely, Clem. I think I was always a big advocate for work-life balance. However, I have shifted my perspective after my sabbatical to rather take on the term harmony. So I think that success to me in the beginning, because much like you, I don't come from a family that had money. And so my definition of success was financial prosperity. And after my sabbatical, as I mentioned, my priorities shifted. And I really got to the root core of my core values. And I realized that more than financial success, what really matters to me is fulfillment. And so success has shifted in that sense. I've seen that even though I've made quite a significant amount of money according to what I've been exposed to or from where I come from in my businesses, I've now realized that money is no longer the goal, service is. And that service to many leads to greatness regardless. And so why not focus on the service, because money will flow. And when I am operating in my highest potential, really focusing on my purpose, as Zanele mentioned, and operating in my purpose, using my gifts to serve many, the money will flow. And so for me, that's what really shifted my mindset. I really took that lack mentality or poverty mentality, I would call it, and shifted it to service and operating in faith. And that was just the biggest takeaway for me. And I've seen that I feel a lot more joyful. I have a new level of peace on a daily basis. And even in this minute, my bank accounts don't look the same. It was a major sacrifice. But you know what? I've gained so much life, I feel. People look at me now and they say, oh my goodness, you're glowing. And it's a God glow, because this glow comes from rest.
Yes.
And
man,
honestly,
preach.
I'm grateful. Because I mean, you might be listening to this right now and you're listening to 3 females who've taken a sabbatical, and you might be thinking, oh yeah, that's for the women. But I want to speak to the men right now. You need this as much as we do. If you feel that you are driven to the point of exhaustion, one day when you get all that money, all that success, the titles that you want, you're going to look back and see that you have missed so many moments with your family, so many beautiful moments where you could have served, so many moments that you could have grown personally, mentally, spiritually, because you were chasing a buck. So today I just want to encourage you, whether you're male or female, no matter where you come from, don't be pushed by the circumstances of your environment where you come from. Look deep within, redefine your core values, align or realign your priorities in terms of fulfillment rather than chasing a title or money.
Love that. Zanele, and for you, it's like your view on success, the approach to work-life balance?
For me, I've learned that my worth is not tied to productivity. I'm allowed to rest. I'm allowed to be human. And I've gotten an opportunity to redefine success on my own terms. And right now, for me, success is not, being in the corporate space as a highly paid manager. I had to let go of that at that level. But for me, success at the moment is a happy family, a healthy marriage, kids, my children having, lasting memories about me, that if they were to be asked, what gift did your mother give to you? They would say she gave us the gift of time. And that's success to me, because, all of that had taken away the ability to do the little things my kids love my food. I'm a great cook, by the way, Clement. My kids love my food. My husband loves my food. But because I was so tied up and busy and climbing the corporate ladder, I could not do the basic things such as making a meal, making their favorite meal. But at the moment, I'm able to, to do those things. And success to me now is even being able to say, "Bah, I'm at home, but if I'm tired and I need to rest and the house is not clean, I sit and I relax. I sleep. My husband comes back. He cooks for me. He serves me. So I'm in a space where I understand success in a different way, not the way that it has been previously defined to us. I think the previous speakers indicated that. So it's really redefining things in a lot more personal way at the stage.
Yeah, I love that. There's another listener who wants to know if there's anything that you guys would have done differently. So when you look back in hindsight, is there anything you would have done differently during your sabbatical, or was everything like, I'm happy? So think about that. I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that. Let's go to Leonard first, who's calling us from Midrand. Leonard, good morning.
Hi, morning, Clement. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Great show.
Thank you.
I'm good. Great show as always. I mean, I think it's the for everyone who's calling into your show. On my side, I've been quite busy. I mean, since 2009 up until now. Just a combination of schoolwork and just life in general. And one can really do with a 2 month, 3 month sabbatical. But the caveat to that is just the financial risks that come with it. And a lot of your callers and your speakers, they've just alluded to the fact that as a black man and as somebody who sort of grew up in a rural area, we were just taught to continue to work, and work is valued, and if you want to take a break, you're kind of perceived as somebody who's weak. So we continue to strive on at the compromise of our mental health. So that's all that I wanted to say. I could do with a
break.
2 months, 3 months break. I'm currently pursuing a master's degree, and to be quite honest, balancing that with work has just proven to be a major challenge. And obviously, again, as I said, coming from a rural area, sometimes you're expected to attend weddings, funerals. You still have to deliver on your schoolwork. You still have to deliver on your actual work. So it's just a challenge. But I applaud your guests for taking those risks that come with it, and actually advocating for sabbatical. It really is important for people to take a break.
Yeah, listen, all the best, Leonard, with your masters, and that time will come for you. I hope you can find a way to still slot in that break, because as everybody has been saying here, is we don't want to wait until we crash, because that's then a little too late. So at least, and part of the reason we're having this conversation is to create awareness, is to help people know that this is possible. There's a way you can do it. You can plan around it. You can build your own support system when you take it. But so often we are so driven to just work hard every day, and we don't take time to actually take care of ourselves and to rest and to redefine what success is. I mean, if success is I'm going to be stressed 100% every single day of my life to a point that it affects my interactions with my family, it affects me even when I'm on weekends, even I'm on holiday with my family, then that's not the success I want, right? Let's go to some WhatsApps that have come through on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Clemmy. Flores here from the Western Cape, man. I was fortunate enough to have taken sabbaticals over the 20 years that I've been working. at a certain program, and also at my new job. That was part of my negotiations for taking on this job, because I was headhunted, that I am taking a sabbatical every 3 months, fully paid. So yeah, it was nice. Every time I take a sabbatical, I go visit my friends either in the US or in Switzerland. So yeah, I'm planning to go there next year again if all goes well. So yeah, sabbaticals work for some and not for others, depending what type of a job you have. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Hi, Clement. Great show and great insights from your guests. I just can't bring myself to take a sabbatical. I took leave today, but I'm just thinking about work. I'm thinking about all the things that need to be done. And if I don't do them today, then Monday is going to come around. And it's just a constant cycle of thinking about productivity and your outputs. But yeah, I think your guests have brought forward some great points for us to consider.
Yeah. Oh, please take a break. Like, you're on leave now. Don't think about work, please. And that's the thing, is sometimes we get so addicted. And it's so, we don't, because I always think it's in our subconscious. We don't actually realize it, right? Because we've been wired and socialized for work to be our identity.
Yeah.
And to a point that even when we are on holiday, I've told this story many times there was many years ago, I was in Thailand on holiday, and because I was a field journalist at the time, and I remember there was a terrorist attack that happened 500 meters from the hotel where I was staying at. And I remember the first thing wasn't, am I safe? Where are we going to hide? The first thing was, I took out my phone and I wanted to go record so that I can send the story to my news editor at the time, Katie Katapodis, in Joburg. I'm on holiday, and yet all I'm thinking about is I'm going to file a story about a terrorist attack that's just happened in Thailand. We don't think. Sometimes we think, yeah, but I'm passionate about my job. No, that's crazy. Sometimes when you take a break, take a break. But because we're wired to always be on overdrive, subconsciously when things happen, we take out a laptop. You want to respond to the emails. And sometimes we just need to make an intentional decision to stay away from work and just focus on our own rest. Okay, the question I asked you guys earlier from one of our listeners who's saying, if you look back, Koketso, in hindsight, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently during your sabbatical, or are you 100% happy with how it unfolded?
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your story from Thailand. I think it was a very courageous act to take, but I cannot dismiss the anxiety that comes with it. I would have done it the same way. I think I don't regret anything. I tried so many jobs which didn't require me to, to present myself fully. So I think, I don't regret anything. I would do it the same way.
The same way,
yeah.
Okay. Shantal, how about you?
Clem, before I answer, I just want to quickly say that in my first 4 weeks of my micro sabbatical before I extended, I was the person who couldn't turn off.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I needed to extend.
Yeah.
And so I really want to encourage everybody who just feels that they can't do it, they can't take off. That's exactly why you need to.
Yes.
You need to be able to rest, right? God created the earth in 6 days. On the seventh day, he rested. And so
even he
created.
rested.
Come on. You get me? So, yeah, I would not change anything in my sabbatical. Perhaps maybe not seeing as many friends as I did. I love my friends. If you're listening, I love you. But I think when you are in a sabbatical, you really need to conserve your energy and look inward. And sometimes when you are in that season mentally of looking inward, friends can cloud your judgment.
Yes.
I was hibernating, so a lot of my other friends didn't see me. I mean, between Joburg and Cape Town, I used to travel a lot. I mean, I live between both cities. So a lot of my friends didn't see me, but the friends I did see, I love you guys, but I really wish I didn't spend as much time with them as I did.
Yeah. And Zanele?
Thanks, Clement. I think for me, just before I answer that, the previous caller, I relate to her a lot. I was that person. My laptop would always be in my boot.
Sure.
I would be, hanging out with friends or with my family, and I'm quickly in a meeting in the evening. I'm busy doing work on weekends. until my body spoke for me, because I was unable to speak for myself. And that's what the body does. When you don't protect your body, your mental well-being, the body speaks for you. For me, I wouldn't change anything, really, to be quite honest, in terms of my sabbatical, because I'm still there. The only thing that I would change, I would have taken it sooner. And it goes back to the point that you highlighted, Clement, that most of the time we wait for our bodies to crash, then we start doing something. I would have protected myself against the crash, because the crash was not good. The crash led to me being admitted in a clinic. Those are things that I could have prevented and not be in the state, in the position that I'm in at the moment. Maybe also, just to touch on a more personal level, I could have planned better financially for my sabbatical. Like I said, for mine was not planned. I didn't know that in 2024, September, I would be starting my sabbatical. So it came with a lot of financially, you feel it. So I could have planned for it better, but nonetheless, it's okay. I'm richer in spirit, and I'm richer in mind.
That's it. Richer in spirit and in mind. Oh, Shantal, Zanele, Koketso, you guys have been so brilliant. I am left inspired, and I know the listeners have also learned so much. They've been left inspired as well. So I appreciate you guys coming through to share your journey and your stories with us. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us,
Thank you for
Clem.
having us.
It's a minute before 11.